Today we have a very special guest joining us, Chris Zukowski, one of the most respected voice in the world of indie game marketing. Chris is the founder of How to Market a Game and has worked with hundreds of indie developers and studios, helping them not just market smarter, but actually understand what really works in this noisy and ever evolving gaming space. In this episode, we dive deep into understanding what it really takes to sell a game in 2025. From crafting better Steam pages to building email lists that actually converts, to why wish lists are not the end goal. Chris shares actionable insights, busts all the myths, and gives straight up advice that every indie developer and studio needs to hear today. Whether you're working solo or running a great team, this episode is a gold mine. Let's just jump right in. All right, Chris, let me tell you, firstly, I'll be honest with you, I still can't believe this is happening. Because, first and foremost, I want to start by saying a big thank you. I've been consuming your content for so long now. I never thought this collaboration could be possible. You have truly helped thousands of game developers across the globe, understanding game marketing even better, right? So, as you know, we at Underdogs are also building something similar, it's a game called Mukti, which is a first-person story exploration game, right? And recently we showcased the pre-alpha gameplay on YouTube and garnered over 10,000 wishlist post that. But honestly, most of the learnings that I have today, which helped me reach that number, is coming from all your videos.
Cool. Excited. Thank you.
Yeah. So people in games around the world, they know you. I think 99% of indies definitely know you, but for that 1% still unaware, can you briefly share what exactly Chris Zukowski does?
Yeah, I just study the Steam marketplace and how developers market their game and bring it to Steam. So from early concept all the way to launch and even post-launch, I study the numbers, I interview other devs, I just study and analyze how Steam actually works. And what I do is I write a blog called howtomarketagame.com where I publish all my results, like everything that I find. And really what I'm just trying to do is I go in, I know nothing. I just always have that mindset of I know nothing. I have no preconceived notions of how things should work. And so I just treat it like a scientist where I'm just like, does this work? Does that work? What are the numbers? And so I mostly my data comes from either individual devs sharing their data with me looking at sites like VG Insights or Game Discover Co. where they scrape Steam. Or third, I'll do things like surveys where I'll send out a survey to my mailing list and say, hey, I'm trying to find out how many wish lists you get from the discovery queue. If you've got this, and then people share their data with me. And then finally, sometimes I write my own scripts that will scrape data from Steam and compile it and look at those numbers. So I have no ideas. I just go based off of what works and study that. And that's the secret is like, none of this is my opinion. It's just exactly what the data is telling me. So that's who I am.
So
glad to be here.
Yeah. So that's more of, you're basically a data guy who strongly believes in the analytics and the metrics. It's not some assumptions that you're making at all, right? I'm curious, how did you get into this? Like, how did it all start for you overall?
Well, I always wanted to make a game, and I got a computer science degree, and I was like, yeah, computer science, I'm going to make games. And then I ended up working in companies, IT and stuff like that, not in games. And then you get older and you're like, I'm going to make a game. And so I made a game. Everybody turns 30 and they're like, it's now or never. I turned 30. I made a game. It didn't sell well. And so I was like, why didn't it sell well? And then I started a blog just to document why didn't my game sell well. And I was studying the market from different angles. And then more people were interested in my blog than they were my games. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to take the games, put them aside because they're not selling. And then I'm just going to write more and more about the stuff that is working on Steam. So that's how it came, and I just eventually became my full-time job just writing about Steam.
Crazy. So okay, before we get into the journey of an indie and talk about a few pain points there, I want to understand from you, how is Steam doing right now? As is there any learning on what kind of genres are doing great today? Like we're talking about 2025 specifically.
Yeah, today the genres that are doing well on Steam are, I kind of call them some big meta genre. It's not like one type of game. They're typically games where it's kind of like a sandbox, where there are some. I kind of see it as like if you've played a Sim City type of game where you have buildings and it's kind of an open thing where it's like, here's a challenge, build the population up to 10,000 people or whatever. And you place various buildings and optimize things and change numbers. And by doing that, you get up to that goal. That's City Builders is one genre, but there are many others that are like that, kind of like open world survival craft, some what we call auto battlers, tower defense with a slight variation on tower defense, city builders, strategy games. These games that don't have like a linear progression, they're more just like, here's a bunch of tools, go play in the sandbox, do whatever you want. And roguelike deck builders, the roguelike genre, those kind of games, I kind of called it crafty, buildy, strategy, simulation. Simulation is another one where it's like, you have the job of an airline pilot, and here's all the things, and we're simulating being an airline pilot, and you can do whatever you want. There's no story. You just play whatever you want. It's a sandbox, and you're playing with an airplane. And so those type of games where there's no linear content are kind of the sweet spot for Steam and indie game developers, because indies don't have much time. We don't have much money. And so to make enough content to make Steam players happy, we have to make these kind of games that the content emerges organically. Like you just put two things, like two blocks, and the way you combine those blocks is so infinite that creates the infinite content. Because Steam players really like 30 to 40 hours worth of content. And if you're doing a typical AAA game where you have to like write the story, write the characters, all this dialogue, we cannot afford to make 30 hours of that. We can only make like 1 to 3 hours of that type of content. So the type of games that do well on Steam are the ones where the content, the amount of time you spend playing the game, emerges from the pure game design. So that, in a nutshell, there's a couple wrinkles in there we can go into, but some subgenres that don't quite fit that. But overall, that's what I say: crafty, buildy, strategy, simulation games.
And I've been seeing these simulation games a lot today. I mean, they have been literally all over the place. And what I have done, specifically for this this conversation is, no, it's been like a while now, probably around 17 years making games. I've realized that there are hurdles in every stage of an indie game developer's journey, right? I try to basically pick out a few and hope we can clear most of them for the audience, right? So let's basically start at the beginning, right? As a developer, I have a game, okay, and I'm ready to show it to the world. Let's say you have a game, like you are ready to a point, probably like a demo stage or something, and it's the first time that you are actually putting it out. Right. I also understand that, we keep on saying that your marketing starts from day one of your development, right? When you're actually starting the game, you start putting it out on socials, on Reddit, Twitter, all of these platforms, right? But let's say I want to put out like a good trailer out, which is where maximum people will start taking a notice, right? So what are the things that I need to get right before doing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so you need to make sure that your game is actually ready to show. Too many devs either wait too long or go too soon. And this is what I consider the minimum bar before you're ready to show, is your game has to have that final art style. It has to look like playable, like you can play the game. people are too smart nowadays. They know when it's like, oh, I've pre-rendered some CGI stuff, so it actually has to have gameplay. And then you want to have a variety of content. And I always say 3 environments. And it depends on the genre and everything, but every screenshot should look totally different. So what I mean is like 3 totally different environments. Like I'm in the ice world, I'm in the lava world, and I'm in the grasslands. Or, you know, if you're playing like a card game, a deck builder, like 3 totally different backgrounds, 3 totally different cards. You're just trying to show that this is a very deep game, because Steam likes, like I said, 30, 40-hour content games with lots of deep content. And a mistake a lot of devs make is either indies, they get an asset pack and there's one asset pack and all the screenshots look like the same thing. It's just like, I can see it. Like I can see they took a screenshot here, then they moved the camera, they took a screenshot here, took a screenshot here. It has to be completely different to show that depth. And then finally, that art style has to be finished. I mean, I should have put that first, but the art style is like, you know, there's different art directions you can do: cartoony, wholesome, grimdark, pixel art, whatever art style you're going with, you've set it, because you don't want to change your art style once you've revealed it to the world. So once you have those things, which again, I'll just wrap through them real quick. It is, you've got gameplay, you have a finalized art style, you know what it's going to basically look like. Could still be improved, but you know the style of the game. You have 3 environments and you're ready to go. That's what I consider there. And so once you've got that, you make that trailer. And when I say gameplay, like 30 seconds of gameplay, you make that trailer and you show gameplay within the first 3 seconds. Too many trailers, I see this as a big mistake. They're very long. That's like a slow pan over an environment. It says like in a world, and it does all this stuff that's slow, and the logo comes up and it's slow. You need gameplay, like right up the front, because people need to identify what genre am I playing, because people have preferences. Like, I don't like that genre, I do like that genre. And so you need to hit them right up front. So from there, that is the very first thing, just making the trailer. And I can show you how to promote that trailer in a second, but I just want to stop here and if all that makes sense to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it also connects with one of the other tip that I wanted to bring in is taking all of this to your Steam page, right? Like creating a Steam page in itself is an art, right? Having all the things in place, plus there are a lot of things that usually indies miss out on, right? When you're building a Steam page. Do you have any more things around the Steam page, which also includes like the capsule, the requirements of the capsule, or any such things that developers should take care of when they, because I'm talking about an example where now I have the trailer, I want to put it out. I made sure everything is correct. Building a Steam page is my next step, right?
Yeah. Yes, the trailer is one part, and you want to launch that trailer and that Steam page at the same time. So when I say this, also think about these at the same time. So trailer, and then where you say the capsule, that's what the language, I don't know why they call it a capsule, but in Steam world, that's the thumbnail for your game. They just call it a capsule. I don't know why. I didn't invent that. And what it is you need to show quality. See, here's the thing, folks, is Steam players are smart. And they know when a game is made by one person and it's not a very skilled person. And so you have to prove to them that you are a serious dev who's got their game together. Like, they know there's nothing bad about your game. So in a lot of devs, they'll make their thumbnail and it looks terrible. It looks amateur. It looks like you don't have art skills and you made it. It is the first impression people have of your game, is this thumbnail. So hire a professional illustrator. It has to look good, and you have to pay money for it. Even if you're making a pixel art game, I get this question all the time. Even pixel art games need an illustrated cover, which is the thumbnail, the capsule. You need to do it, because what that proves to people is like, I'm investing in this game. If you just slap up and you made it yourself, you have to do it. You have to get a professional, because they can tell when a developer does it themselves. I can tell. All right. We can tell. Everybody can tell. You can't fool them. So you need to get the professional art. And then the other thing that I find that a big mistake a lot of people when they're making their Steam page is they slap together stuff, and there's like mistakes because you want to do screenshots, and then down below we call it the about this game. It's the long description. It's good to put GIFs in there. They're like, you take sections of the trailer and you put them in there. I see a lot of devs, their GIFs are janky looking. In other words, the frame rate's really low because to get a trailer to convert to a GIF, you lose a lot. So you got to cut that trailer down to just like a second into a GIF, because if the GIF is too big, your frame rate is really low. And you have to prove to everybody, I have a really good frame rate. I'm a good developer who can make a nice, like smooth 60 FPS minimum game. But if your GIF on that page is choppy looking, people assume, oh, this game's slow. It's not 60 FPS. So you've got to do all that. And the other thing is sometimes people all watch them clip GIFs. Like, you clip it. You get to pick whatever GIF you want. And they'll clip mistakes in their game. Like their game, like the person like clips through the wall, or like they're holding a like sword and the sword like clips through their head like this. And it's like, it looks bad. Don't show that. Like, even if that is the case of your game, don't show that scene. Don't make the guy hold the sword like this. Make him hold like this so the sword doesn't clip through his head. You have to be very, very conscious of every single tiny mistake that could go wrong, and don't put that on your Steam page. Okay, that is a big mistake. It's like you got to make everything clean. Make everything clean, everybody. So big advice there.
These are some really, really great insights, because when I was actually trying to build, we made this Steam page probably 3 years back, and we actually started putting out content recently, like 2 to 3 months back, right? Because we made a Steam page when we thought of the game, and we built like that first 10 minutes gameplay. And we had different plans that we could basically build that in the next 6 months and we'll put it out, but that didn't happen because of the funds and all of those things, right? But do you think the time frame matters? Like, if someone makes a Steam page, say 3 years back, is it still relevant? Is there audience still looking at that page, or do I have to start fresh one?
No, and this is a study that I've actually done. This is where it's like, I've done the data analysis. There's a term called wish lists getting old. Do wish lists get old? And they do not. Wish lists do not get old. And it doesn't matter how long ago somebody wish listed it. It converts at the same rate that somebody else that wish listed it like 2 months before you launch. There's no difference. Props. Like, just search my blog, howtomarketagame.com, search do wish lists get old. I've done the analysis and all this stuff. They do not get old. But here's the key thing. This is what fools people all the time. So I always advise against a big 3-year development. That's my first thing. I do advise people shorten their development times in the beginning, release lots of smaller games faster. Okay. The problem with long development times, and the reason people think wish lists get old, is that I always say things like, you need to get 10,000 wish lists before you launch, which is good. When you have velocity, so if you get 10,000 wish lists before you launch, you start getting up in the promotions and stuff like that. Now, here's the problem is I say that, and I'm always talking to like games that are like 6 months to a year. If you can get 10,000 wish lists in a year, that's a pretty good sign. Not great. It's pretty good though. And so that a game that can get 10,000 wish lists in a year is awesome. That's great. You're probably going to have a higher conversion rate. And this is what I call excitement or velocity. A lot of people, they see the game and they're like, yes, that's great. I want that. The problem I see, and this is why people think wish lists get old, is somebody who's been working on their game for 3 years, they get to launch and they're like, I got that 10,000 wish list, Chris. I did it. I got to 10,000. But I'm like, well, how long did it take you? Oh, it took me 3 years. See, then you really only gained wish lists at about 3,300 wish lists per year. And that's not very good. See, I would expect minimum, and what that means is if you only got 3,000 wish lists a year, that means your game's not very exciting to people. And a lot of people look at it and they're like, man, and they move on. And so fewer people are wish listing that game. And so even though you went to launch with 10,000 wish lists, just like that other game, but that game that got 10,000 wish lists in like a month, that's awesome. But if you got 10,000 wish lists in 3 years, that's not so great. And so that just shows that there's not much excitement behind your game. And then, I mean, globally, And what I mean by that is when you launch, you're going to think, oh man, those 10,000 wish lists, they didn't convert because they were old. No, it wasn't that they were old. It's just that there weren't that many people that were excited about your game. And it looked like you had the same number of wish lists as somebody else. But I always divide the number of wish lists you have by number of years your page has been up. That's just a good rule of thumb.
Got it. In our case, something different happened. Just to make it clear, when we launched the page, I think, and this was not even three, I think 4 years back when Greenlit system was there on Steam, when you had to have that number of people, right? Uh, and post that, nothing happened. We didn't post anything. Uh, a month back, we launched that, revealed that gameplay trailer, and in 2 months, in 1.5 months, we got like around 9,500 wishlists immediately with that, right? So I was personally, I was very shocked because I didn't expect that, because I thought it has become like an old page, because we still have a lot of marketing elements to put out in the next phases. So I was like, let's do an experiment. If this fails, then we can anyway do the newer page. But surprisingly, it turned out really well. A lot of people, you know, when they're talking to, say, probably publishers or investors, wishlist becomes like a holy grail, kind of assuming or committing that we will definitely have this much of conversion on in the first week of the launch for sure. uh, is it still relevant? Like, is it? I just wanted to hear from you. I've done my research and I have got many answers around it, but I wanted to hear from you. Is it still in 2025? Is it still working? Is it still true that I can convert 8 to 10% of my wish list in the first week?
No, I mean, this has never been true. It's never been
Okay.
true. You
Okay.
can't do a wish list conversion calculation. You just
Okay.
can't. Even Valve, with all the information in the world, they have perfect data. They will tell you, we can't predict if your game's going to do well. And I know, like, I've consulted for games. They got 100,000 wish lists, and it looked good. The game looked
Yeah.
amazing. But when you played it, you're like, God, this game is janky. The frame rate's low. It's not that fun. I thought it was this game. I was not. It comes down to the game. And so that game has a totally different conversion rate than a game where it fulfilled the promise. Like, they had 100,000 wish lists and it's just as awesome as it looked. And you're like, whoa. So you cannot predict conversion rate. And you've never been able to. Please, folks. I mean, I've never been able to say, definitely you can convert it this much. There's no math, because it comes down to the game. It depends on how that game converted. And like I said, remember, it's also the duration of the game, because I think a better sign is like how fast you got those. Like I said, divide the number of years your game's been up by the number of wish lists you have, and that's a good sign too. What I like to do, but that doesn't mean wish lists aren't important. I just mean you can't do like a simple math problem to figure it out, because it depends on the game. What I like to say is it's a number of factors. And so I have a website, howtomarketagame.com/benchmarks. And what I like to recommend is people look at all the benchmarks and kind of say, like, oh, which level am I? Because I rate every metric on a 4 scale, like bronze, silver, gold, and diamond tier. Diamond tier is the best. And so if a number of your metrics are all at diamond level, that's a good sign. That's not saying you should convert at that point. It just means, like, these are all things that mean we're probably going to do well. So folks, don't do a simple conversion like, oh yeah, it's 10 to 20%. I hear that all the time, but you can't. It depends on the game. The game has to be good. Your wish lists have to be, you have to have a good number, all that kind of stuff. So you can't do a conversion, and you've never been able to, ever.
Yeah. Got it. So just alone wishlist is not everything. You need to consistently push and build something which is really really good. An audience loves it, right? And I think the genres of games that you mentioned, for those particular genres, demos really work really well, right? Like, if you put a demo out there, there is a high chance that you can actually convert people as a community, right? That's something you can do. And I've heard a lot of your talks talking about it. What I wanted to understand is, and because we are building a linear story-driven game, it becomes difficult for anyone to actually figure out a nice and cut a nice demo from a linear story exploration game, right? So, do you have any thoughts around that?
I I actually think it's easier. I don't know who said it was harder. Because look, think about stories like movies, like the end of a movie, and you're like, oh, how did they end it that way? God, that was such a good ending. I can't wait to watch the next one. See, when it's a story, you can end it on an amazing cliffhanger. Whereas if it's an open world game, it's like, how do you end an open world game? It's like, I don't know. How do you end an exciting moment when kids are playing with blocks? You're like, here's some blocks. How do you end it in an amazing way? But if it's linear, it's a story. You can cut it off and say, the end. Wait till the full game is launched. You've got it easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying, right? I mean, you can end it on you have an exciting moment in your game, right?
Yeah, no, I see.
Okay, so end it on take an exciting moment and then slice it, and then the screen, like there's somebody coming around the door like this with a knife, and then on the knife it says wishlist now, right? Do it, make it exciting.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. And it literally kind of you gave me a new perspective as well. What happens usually in story-driven games, because I've been working on those games a lot, right? So you have a pace, right, and you slowly get the user from this learning curve to a point where you slowly introduce new mechanics and uh, so the question, I understand the cliffhanger, which is a great point, which usually is the case in the trailers, teasers, all of those things. But when it comes to building like 15-20 minutes of gameplay, which covers my core mechanics, it also feels like, am I giving away a lot in that demo itself? Because maybe I'll have like 5-6 elements which are really cool, um, because there is very little scope in terms of innovation on that side as well, right? Because it's a linear, story-driven, first-person kind of a thing. So, so yeah, a confusion is basically how do you get that core engagement element while you tell the story and have that cliffhanger as also.
I mean, I'm not a game designer. I'm just a marketer. So don't ask me. What my recommendation is, play a lot of games. Like I talk to a lot of developers who have succeeded. They've done very well. And I say, I'll just talk to them. I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, I was like, how'd you get the idea for this? And they're like, well, we played 50 demos and I just wrote down one cool thing from every demo. I was like, 50? I don't even play 50 demos. The best game designers play so many games. So many. And I find newer developers or developers who aren't as professional, they play like one game. And I'm like, that's it? And I was like, I'll sometimes be in the coaching sessions and I'll be like, hey, have you played, you probably played this game. They're like, no, I've never played that. I was like, I've never even heard of that. You haven't heard about it? Like, this is the same genre as your game. Like, you all, whoever's making your game, you need to play every game, like, and play a bunch of demos for linear narrative games. Find them. Find all the linear narrative games that you're inspired by, and then the ones you're not inspired by that are bad, and play all those demos, and you'll find those trends, okay? And here's the thing is, and in general, I know I'm not a designer, but you don't have to start in your demo at the start. You can just drop them in. The other thing to remember is the Steam audience is very savvy. So you don't have to say like, push WASD to move forward. Here's how to open a door. People know how to open doors. So you don't have to tutorialize everything. Just drop them in the middle of it all, give them the best gun and say, have fun. And then they open a door and a guy with a knife comes out and then it says wishlist now, right? That's how you end it. So give them the best gun, open a door, and have a guy with a knife coming at them. And then it says wishlist now on the knife. That's how you do it. I'm not a designer, though. I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, but you got it right.
But my general advice is you just play a bunch of games and then write down what you like and what you don't like about each one. And you'll learn so much from that.
Yeah. Makes sense. Let's just say I have like I've launched a Steam page. Everything is going decent. Like I picked up a few numbers on the wish list as well. Um, when I actually and I continue this process till the release of the game, and I do a lot more stuff around it. How do I? Because we are talking about the indie perspective. Do you have any tips or learnings or things that you can share on marketing the game in a very organic way? Like I don't have money.
Yeah, most marketing doesn't take any money. Like the best way to get wishlist, totally free. What you got to do is what you do. This is what works. Okay. You contact streamers, you make your demo, you contact streamers, and you say, play my game. You email them and you say, here's my game, here's a key, play it. Okay. Or you reach out to festivals, and howtomarketagame.com/festivals. I keep a list of all festivals, because what festivals are, not the in-person ones. Don't do those. Not worth the money. They're too expensive. Never do a in-person festival. You want to do a virtual festival, which is you apply and somebody on Steam organizes this event, and like usually a month before the event, they put out a thing and they say, apply with your game. You apply, and then on the front page of Steam, they put your game in a long list. That's what it is. And so the streamers, people, I always say, contact streamers, and they're like, well, my emails go to spam. They do not go to spam. That's why I say you got to make a good game, because you send the streamers look at every game that comes in their mailbox. They do. And they look at your game and they're like, it's not that interesting. That's why you got to make a good Steam page and a good capsule, because if your game looks good and it presents well, they're like, I like that. And then they play your game on stream. And then if your game is good, friends tell friends, and it just grows. It just does. It's magic. And it's like, if you've got a good game that people like, the streamers will play it and you will get into festivals. That's what it takes, folks. We can't market a game that is not interesting. So if your game's not interesting and you reach out to festivals and nobody accepts you, you reach out to streamers and nobody responds, there might be something there. There might be like, there's something where the streamers are like, I don't really like this game. So that's basically how it works. Those are the two best ways. Social media doesn't really work that well. For most games, social media doesn't work. So that's the rules.
You spoke about like having the game correct first, right? Like you can't really achieve anything if you even send it to the streamers. Let's say you have a decent game, a nice game, right? And I'm talking about the people who who have some money on the marketing side as well. Like if I really have, let's say I have $50,000 with me, specifically dedicated towards the marketing. While I do all of these things that you just mentioned on the organic side of it, um, is there any way where this money helps me promote a nice game that
I mean, in general, I don't think if you have a game that's like, like you let's just pretend you reach out to all the streamers and for free, not a single one wanted to play it. I'm sorry, like money is not going to help that. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you can throw money at it, but it's not going to work. Like it just won't.
yeah,
The Steam audience is very savvy. I am convinced you cannot take a game that's not interesting to people, spend some money, and then it becomes popular. It just won't work. But if you really do have money, first you should pay me. Just give me money. I'm just kidding. I am running a course sale. I am running a sale, and I do regional discounts. So if you go to howtomarketagame.com and then just I'm making a secret one for you, /VC, howtomarketagame.com/VC. I'm running a course, a sale starts July 21st. And I do regional discounts. So I have a feeling VC, most of your audience is from India. I do a regional discount for India. I know there's a currency difference and everything, cost of living difference. So I do offer that. That's a good thing, because you just got to learn the rules of Steam. And that's what my course does. It walks you through the rules of Steam. But outside of that, there are a couple things that you can spend money on that might help. One is there are big festival events. These are kind of in person, but there are these stage shows like the Jeff Keighley show. There's the PC gaming show. These big ones. I think IGN's got one. And there's usually a big stage. Somebody's on there and there's a big screen behind them and they show your trailer. That is actually, if your game's worth it. Now, I'm not saying that's going to fix things. If you got this $50,000 that you're saying, I would spend you can spend about $10,000 to make a really good trailer, $10,000 to $20,000, and getting into that thing's like $40,000 to $50,000. That might be worth it, but you've got to have a really big budget. I would not put all my money in that one basket, but that is one way to spend money that's kind of worth it. But you have to have a really good game for that to be effective. The other thing you can do is actually pay for ads, like Facebook. You're going to ask which ones? Facebook, Reddit. Those are the best ones. Pay for ads. You could pay for streamers. I don't find the conversion. I find paid ads convert better. But again, I'm going to tell you folks, if your game is not good, ads will not fix it. So many people are like, well, I tried reaching out to social media. I tried reaching out to influencers. I tried applying for festivals. Nobody does it. So I'm going to do ads. It's not going to work. You're like throwing money down the hole. I'd rather take, if you did that, you reached out to streamers, you did festivals, and nobody covered you. I'd rather take that $50,000 and make a second game. That's just me. Ads cannot fix things. Paying for ads just amplifies. So if you're like, you contact streamers, you get in, they're playing your game, they're loving it, then I would spend money. Or if you like had a trailer and it went viral, then I would spend the money on one of those big stage shows with a big screen behind you. It only enhances what's already good. If it's zero on your marketing side, everything you did for free didn't work, save that money. Just say, I'm going to put this towards my next game. Paid ads do not help.
Awesome. Firstly, I'll definitely put a link in the description for the course that you are offering, Chris. I think that will, and the difference, the discounted price is definitely going to help the regional audience. By that logic, like everything that you said, I think then there is a very limited there are very limited pillars that you could focus on when it comes to marketing, right? Like the streamers that you mentioned, and all of that only works when your game is good, right? Otherwise, it's not going.
You can't sell a bad game. Just make a good game, folks.
Yeah. So with that logic, does the PR agencies that you often meet, the conferences that you spoke about, right? Like I've been to a few conferences, and all I see is the PR agencies and the marketing agencies reaching out to you, to do that. The things that you mentioned, I think then if your game is not that good, none of these things also matter, right? They also can't fix what you have.
When you hire a PR agency, what they do, and they can be worth it if your game's good. That's the ironic thing. If your game's good and you're like, man, I'm getting so much visibility, then you want to hire a PR agency, because what a PR agency can do is they have special connections to some streamers, and they can multiply. So spending money just multiplies everything. So if your game is a 0, anything times a 0 is going to be 0. Or if it's a 1, your game's like a 1, and you multiply it, it's just going to be like whatever that is. That's not much. But if your game's like a 10, if your game's 100, then spending money makes it 500, 1,000 times bigger. It multiplies. And so and I see this problem all the time. Again, save your money, folks. If you've reached out to streamers, you've reached out to festivals, and nobody wanted your game, if you hire a PR agency, you're going to spend like thousands of dollars, and then somebody else is going to reach out for you to all these other influencers, and they're also not going to want to play your game. There's no secret. And so if you're not getting any connection with your game, nothing's working, don't spend money. That's not the problem. The problem is not like, oh man, I need somebody to hire somebody. It's not. It's the game. So please save your money. Again, take that money, put it towards your next game.
Let's say I'm now building that wish list and reaching to this launch of my game. Is there anything like things like having a press kit, or there could be 10 different things that probably a lot of indies might not be aware of. Can you name a few things that acts like a checklist for me as an indie developer um, before launching the game, like the final game out there?
Yeah, I mean, I do a press kit. That's fine. I mean, it's simple too. It's just a Google Drive. Just make a Google Drive or a Dropbox drive. Throw some screenshots. Throw a description of your game, like a write up of it. Write it like an article. Throw some videos in, like a trailer, just full native 4K, so that people can edit it. Of your final trailer. I would make a new trailer for your launch. Call it a launch trailer, and literally call it launch trailer. And then just throw all that in the press kit. Also, your thumbnail, your capsule, that thumbnail for Steam, provide a PSD, like a Photoshop file, so it's different layers, because streamers like to clip out versions and put just one image on their thumbnail for their YouTube video. And so that makes it easier, and they love that. But here's the thing. I mean, you can do all that stuff, like trailer and all this. It doesn't matter. Like, your launch is determined by all the years leading up to it. There's not like, oh man, we had this bad launch or something like that. Like, in other words, like, oh, we didn't get covered at this time. The way Steam works is you build up all those wish lists, and that's over the years of your development determines how your launch is going to go. It's not like the last week or something like, oh, we didn't get covered by GameSpot or something. That doesn't matter. It's all those wish lists you had going into launch. It's not like that final thing. I mean, it helps a little bit, but the real determining factor is the years of getting coverage by streamers, getting into those festivals. So don't stress out too much about that final launch.
Basically, everything that you do throughout the development till the launch date is the most important thing than the launch day itself, right?
Yep. This matters.
And if I actually have like decent numbers coming from a Steam game, right? It's not too great also, but it's like decent. It's happening, and I still believe that there is a lot of audience that I can actually bring in, right? So, are there any ways to maintain that sales momentum, or revive interest months after I release the game?
After you release, okay. Here's the big thing. Remember, you mentioned Greenlight, right?
Yeah.
Remember Greenlight? Remember Greenlight? How it was like, oh, you get this many upvotes, and if you get this many upvotes, you're on Steam. Remember that? That's how that system worked. And people were like, oh, Greenlight's over. Greenlight didn't go away. It did not. It's still there. So the way Greenlight worked, you needed to get like thumbs up. And what Valve did was they realized, if you have a funny game or it's silly or something, and you have a big audience, you can just go to Greenlight and say, give it a thumbs up. And they found a lot of people who are funny or kind of good looking, they could thumbs up a lot, and then their game would get onto Steam, but those thumbs up wouldn't convert, because people are like, yeah, that's funny. I like it. You're a funny person. I like that. Funny. I'll give you the thumbs up. And then they were like, well, do you want to buy it? And they're like, no, I just like the thumbs up stuff. That's not good. So what Valve did was they turned Greenlight into money, where it's like you have to get dollars instead of thumbs up. So your votes for Greenlight is like people spending money on your game. And if you get enough money for your game, then you're in Steam. That's the secret. And so when you launch your game, if you do not get enough of these upvotes in the forms of dollars, people paying for you, you actually didn't really get into Steam. And that's the hard thing to realize, is if you do not sell enough, basically at your launch, you're just like you failed Greenlight. Like you didn't get enough upvotes. And it doesn't matter. Like your game's on Steam, people can go and you can buy it, but you get zero promotion from Steam. If that is the case, my advice is move on. I found if you do not get 250 reviews, basically in the first month, you have no hope. Like there's nothing you can do. Like I did the analysis, and you can look at my blog, howtomarketagame.com. Just search the term, you're saying there's a chance. That's what the title of my blog post was. And I looked, there were 0 games. There was one game that got 40 reviews in the first month that later went on to sell well. One game. That's it. Most games, if they do not sell enough to get 250 reviews, they never sold well. They never did. So basically, you have to sell well at the start. And if you don't, basically, Valve's like, Okay, if you can bring the numbers later, we'll promote you, but we're not going to promote you until you prove that you can bring the numbers. And I'll tell you, even though Valve says you can just bring the numbers and it'll work, there's nothing you can do. There is no other way to bring the numbers. And people are like, oh, not Among Us. Among Us. Again, I looked at the numbers. There was one game last year that did it. One game. Okay. So if you do not sell well, move on. It's time to make your next game. It just doesn't work. There's no way you can, practically, there's no way you can resurrect your game. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks.
Before I actually, wrap this up, I just wanted to bug you for a last couple of questions that I had, and this is not something technical, but more of things that something that you wish more developers really understand about marketing. Do you have any thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, the product you make is your marketing. People think marketing is, oh, what do I tweet today? That's not marketing. That's promotion. Marketing is the product, the whole thing. Like if you try and make an educational game and you try and sell it on Steam, it's not going to work because it's the wrong product for the wrong place. The place is Steam. I only focus on Steam. From the moment you're going to make a game, you have to think about the type of game that you're going to make. Okay. And I know we kind of talked about it before, and I know you want some special, like, different statement, but this is the number one problem I see. Like, I go to conferences and I walk the hall where people are demoing their game. And I got to say, I'm honestly, like 90% of the games I see in those halls when I walk down just aren't going to sell on Steam. Like, they just won't. They're the wrong type of game for Steam. They just are. And I'm sorry. I wish it was different, but people are just making the wrong type of game and they're spending too long on it. I wish Des would, like, throw a game up, like, just show it off. And if it doesn't do, like, people aren't excited about it, they would just kill it and work on another one. Or they're like, we're not seeing the numbers. I wish they would just kill it and go on to the next one. I know that's hard to hear, but I see devs spending years and thousands of dollars on games that have zero chance. And it makes me so sad. I want everybody to be a developer, and you're going to have to realize that the type of game that you need to make might not be the exact game you originally pictured. You might have to try a couple times. And the other thing is, you just have to learn how to make games. Even though you know everything about games, like you've studied games since you were a kid and you've played every game, it is very hard to make them. And it's going to take making a lot of games before you're good enough for them to actually sell. So please make games faster, make them smaller, make more of them. Your first 10 games are going to fail. So you make fast, small games. Please, folks, don't spend years making your game because you're probably making the wrong one. You just probably are. And that's the best advice I can do. Everything else happens. It doesn't matter. If your game is the right type of game for Steam, I'm not going to say good. I'm going to say the right type of game for Steam. It just takes off. It doesn't matter. You don't even need me, right? It just takes off. It's magic. And I cannot emphasize this enough because people keep grinding on a game that has zero chance. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this is not going to happen. And then they spend thousands of dollars trying to make it happen, and it just doesn't happen. I'm sorry to be such a negative guy on this, but I'm serious, folks. I am serious. I see this all the time, and it breaks my heart every single time. And I want everybody who wants to be a game developer to be a game developer. I don't want you to have a job at a boring company. I want you to have the best job in the world. That's my dream for you. And it's probably going to happen if you just focus on the right type of game. So please do it.
Yeah, you this is motivational, as well as you spoke very realistic about this, because that is something that all of us have seen, right? Like people just sticking to one particular game. But apart from doing a thorough research or learning stuff from howtomarketagame.com, how should indies actually validate if their audience actually exists? I mean, it's a tough thing to do. You rightly said that you.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. Don't worry about the audience right away. Just make little games. See, here's the big problem. Here's the big problem. About 20 years ago, people used to just make little silly games and get like $10,000. That was the best thing. Like people like, yeah, I made a game and I made $10,000. Yeah, I'm gonna make another one. Nowadays, if I say your game's gonna make $10,000, they go, oh no, that's terrible. It's like that used to be awesome, and I'm adjusting for inflation even. Like they used to make like 5,000 in today's dollars. That's like 10,000. That used to be the norm, is to make $10,000, and we lost that for some reason. Now that games can make $1 million, everybody wants to make $1 million game. Don't try to make $10,000 games, folks. Just, I know you want to make a dream $1 million. Please don't do that. Please don't. You want to make a $10,000 game. So you start and you're like, I just want to make $10,000. And so what you do is you make a small game that takes like 3 months. Okay. I know it's not your dream game, but if you love games, if you truly love games, you will love even small games, because games are all fun. So make small games, put them on itch. And I wrote a blog, I did analysis of itch, and I found if you put a free game on itch, be like a quick game that you make, if you can get 5,000 views on it, like a spike of 5,000, that's a good sign. You have a game that's interesting, because the itch audience and the Steam audience are actually pretty closely aligned. The type of games that do well on Steam also pretty much do well on itch for the most part. So you make these smaller games and just put them out. And if you get 5,000, maybe it's time to make that a full game. If not, you only spend a month on it. Make another one. Did it get 5,000? Nope. And because I did a survey. I said, hey, everybody, do you have games on itch? There were lots of games that got 5,000 votes. And that's just a nice, simple goal. Can you get to 5,000 views? And the way that happens is you send it out to some streamers, and the streamer plays it. If one streamer plays it and they like it, you're going to get 5,000 views. That's just kind of what I found. You just see the spike. It says like 5,000 views. That's what it takes. And so that's a good, simple goal. It's just to go for that. Don't just forget trying to be a millionaire, like $1 million mega game where you have a big studio and a big office and like all this stuff. Who wants that? You don't want that. That complicates your life. Small. Think small. Think small. That's my advice. Think small.
Very interesting perspective, man. Start small is where you. Cool. Before we wrap it up, Chris, great insights. Really loved speaking to you about all of these factors. Do you want to, elaborate more on the course that is coming out?
Yeah. So this is my course. I've been selling this for years, and it's helped mega games. Like, even though I said start small, games like Tiny Glade, which got literally 1 million wish lists. They took my course. They literally put my game in the credits. My course, they were like, thank you, Chris. This is possible because of you. Like in the credits, I'm in the credits for this 1 million wishlist game. So this is the greatest course for marketing game on Steam. There's no other game marketing course like this one. And so it just guides you through every single step along the way, like day by day, what you need to do to get this out. And this, I've completely like revamped this course for this time. It's not out yet. July 21st, 9 a.m. Pacific time, my time, is when I'm relaunching it. It's completely different. I have roadmaps. I've interviewed, you asked, like, how do I design this demo? I interviewed developers who have very successful demos, and I played the demo while they watched me play their demo, and they commentated like, oh, we made this decision because of this. We made this decision because of this. And so you get to see from real devs who have done this and have been successful, how do you craft this demo? And I show you how to reach out to the press, how to reach out to influencers, all this stuff, step by step, not just like what I just described, like in our interview, but like step by step, how do you do this? And so it goes step by step. Now, again, like I said, if you go to howtomarketagame.com/VC, I do regional discounts for like India, and for VC, I'm going to do it just for you. So what you have to do is you have to apply. I don't have a special tool that can calculate where you're coming from. I don't know how to do that. So what I do is a form, and you fill out the form, and then by the end of the sale, I will give you the discount. I have to create a special coupon just for you. So you have to apply with your email address. So if you go to howtomarketagame.com/VC, it'll go to the form where you fill it out and you just describe, hey, I'm from India and I saw you on VC's podcast. And that then that'll tell me, oh, okay, I'll send you a special key. So that's how it works. Greatest course ever made about marketing. I'm serious. I've worked so hard on this course. It's insane. So that's what I do. And otherwise, go to howtomarketagame.com/free. That's my newsletter. Every week, I write a new post all about how to market a game. I do case studies where I study somebody who was successful, or I do a deep dive analysis on something, or genre trends. Who knows what's going to come every week. So howtomarketagame.com/free for that.
Amazing, Chris. Amazing. Thank you for doing this. Really enjoyed this whole conversation. And thank you again for dropping by on this channel. Lovely talking to you.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much. It was great to meet you.
मेरे